Hey everybody, welcome to this week's Coach's Corner. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Penny Housem. I'm a health and lifestyle coach. And with Coach Lisa Boston, we are the co-founders of Lux Life Coaching and Retreats. And we co-host this group for you. And I know we have some new people, so I want to say welcome to everybody and make a little intro. I do the coach's corner, so all the mindset work stuff, the mental fitness on Fridays. Coach Lisa does her nutritional stuff on Wednesdays. So make sure you keep an eye open for that. If you are also looking to get more out of this group, but don't want to be on Facebook all the time, then comment below. Let us know if you want to be joined to our email list. We send out an email every day to keep you updated with all the wonderful things that we put into this group. We send that out in the email because we do understand that not everybody wants to be on Facebook all of the time. So if you're looking to maximize our recipes, Coach Lisa's Wednesday nutritional habits, all the things that she teaches, which is like a ton of stuff. And the mindset work. The Saturday, we've got the fitness stuff, and Sunday self-care. So, and then Friday's all about mindset and mental fitness. So one of the things I want to talk to you guys about this week is how you can still be a kind person and still. What does that mean? Well, it means that if you're really looking to maximize your self-help, your self-care, your mindset, your energy, all the things that go along with that, you have to set boundaries. And usually people who are mad about your boundaries are because they don't have any boundaries. Or you get a lot of people who think they have boundaries, but they really don't. So let's kind of look at setting boundaries. Saying something as in, if you say that to me, if you treat me this way, I'm going to be mad at you. That's not a boundary. That's a statement. Okay. So there's a maximal, that's the maximal thing is most people do. They'll be like, oh, I set my boundary, but you didn't really. So the thing is, when you're setting your boundaries, you have to have a consequence, right? If you speak to me in this tone, I'm going to leave the conversation. I will no longer be interacting with you. And then you actually have to follow through. It's kind of like for those parents out there, it's the same as when you say to your kid, hey, don't drop your sister on her head or you're going to go to your room. And then he drops his sister on her head. I've had two kids. So like one was 3 years older. They do awful things to each other when you're not looking. So, but if you never follow through, the consequence is the same as like your kid will continue to be bad if you don't follow through the consequence. Well, the people around you in your world will never change how they react with you if in fact you're never giving them a consequence, right? You have to be willing to walk away for your own self-preservation. Now, I have some examples here and I want to go through them. So this is why I deemed it. You can still be a kind person and still be selective about who you keep in your life. There is no rule that says you have to keep old friends, schoolmates, your siblings, family, your parents, anybody, co-workers in your life. Did I miss anybody? Maybe it's your spouse. Maybe, you know what? Maybe that's a full-on toxic relationship and you don't want to look at it because it's easier not to look at it, but what's the outcome? If you're looking at a relationship, whatever that relationship is, and it is toxic for you and it's not serving you, and you're like still trying to be a nice person with like, and I'm going to go there. I'm going to go there today. So if you're looking at your relationship, and I will use my own as an example because like it's my own life and I can only speak for myself. I knew my relationship was over. I did. I knew it from like year 5. But I stayed for another 4. Okay, 2 of those were the pandemic, so I'm not sure if that counts, but it does. But what I got out of it was traveling the world. I got to go all over the world with my ex because majority of the time he was paying for all my flights, not paying for the money I was losing while missing work at home, but I got something out of it. You have to look at and be realistic. And nothing's going to change if you're not really looking at yourself in the mirror. I got something out of that relationship. I got to see the entire world, Middle East, China, Southeast Asia, all of Europe. I did. But I also had to put up with a relationship that was toxic. And it also started after my son died. So I was in a completely different headspace. 9 years on, I'm a completely different person and he's not. Right. So at what point do you go, this isn't working, I've got to walk away? Whether you're married, not married, have kids, not kids. I did the same thing with my ex-husband. We had 2 children, and it was like, dude, I don't want to be. I looked at the way he related to his mother, and all I thought was, I can't be her in 30 years. This can't be my life. Unbeknownst to myself, I was pregnant the second time, and I left. But it worked out way better, way better. So you can be selective about who you want to keep in your life, but you have to be looking at, why are you? What are you getting out of it if you're not shifting? That's a tough question. But if you're looking to make change in your mindset and looking to make change in your life, you have to look at yourself in the mirror first. Okay. Here's the other one. Say no despite others' feelings. Brené Brown says it very, very well. I would rather be uncomfortable for 45 seconds than be living with regret for 3 hours and being angry with myself. 45 seconds, 3 hours to a day. How many times have you said yes to something and you've gone ahead and done it, and yet you do it grudgingly, and you're angry about it, and your stress level goes up, all of the things happen in your body, you're pissed off, so you don't eat, but then you sit down, drink half a bottle of wine. And all you had to do was say no. It's not about you. It's not your responsibility for their emotions. You can disagree with somebody. That's the fact. Okay. Here's the next one. Regret some of the choices that you have made. Okay. You can still be a kind person and still regret some of the choices you have made. And that's okay, because you know why? We are all looking to just be human. Not perfect. I say this every week. Although I don't think I said it last week, but this week, right? We're allowed to be human. We're allowed to make mistakes, because at the end of the day, you didn't die, right? You guys have all seen The Hangover. Guys, it was a rough day, but did you die? No. Did your ego get bruised? Maybe. And that's okay. That's part of learning. That's part of bouncing back. That's part of resilience. That is in fact, part of the mental fitness that we teach. Right? So when Coach Lisa and I teach our clients about mental fitness, it is about the resilience of how fast you can come back, opposed to living in regret, living in a toxic relationship, or being angry about what you've done. We get you to move through that. So it's like a thought process. 5 minutes later, you're on, because it's not about having a bad day. It's about maybe having bad 5 minutes. Right? How many times have you been stuck in traffic and it's like you're late for work, and then you miss a meeting, and then your lunch, your lunch blew up in the microwave, whatever, the phone never stopped ringing, your kid got in trouble at school, whatever the case may be. And you're like, oh my God, I'm having a bad day. No, you're having a neutral day. You're having bad things happen in that. And it's how you choose to respond, which comes to your self-care and your mindset. Okay. Another one, you can be a kind person and still set boundaries with others. So I started this conversation, setting boundaries, being specific about, if you treat me this way, I'm leaving, I'm out, or you're out. I'll hang up the phone call, whatever the case may be. Okay. Which goes along with, you cannot agree with somebody. You do not have to change your principles, your beliefs, and your values to accommodate somebody else. You can still be a nice person and look at someone and go, no, because you don't believe it. I am not willing to have a conversation with somebody and they go on and on about whatever their beliefs and values are. That's fine. That is theirs. It is not mine. I do not have to adapt it, and they don't have to adapt mine. You can very easily walk away and go, great, disagree. I have a client, I've been training her for 25 years, something. I don't know. been a really long time. Her and I discuss and have politics, religion, and money all the time, like heated debates. Heated debates. I don't agree with her on a lot of things, but we're still good friends, and she's still my client because we come at it with a healthy respect of understanding that I don't have to agree with you. You don't have to agree with your kids. You don't have to agree with your spouse. You don't have to agree. And that's okay. You're allowed to walk away. That's having your boundaries. Okay. The other thing is, you can be in a bad mood without hiding it. Now, I will tell you, this one takes a lot of practice. It takes a lot of trust in yourself to understand that where is the mood coming from? Is it from anything? I was in a super bad mood earlier this week, or actually it was last week, and Coach Lisa and I were working on some stuff for content and we were putting it together, and she's like, why are you so crusty? I'm like, I don't know, I just am. I didn't sleep well. My back with my traps were seizing up. I missed my walk. My knee was hurting. Like all of these things, I was like, cutting out my sugars like more. So I was having a response from that. And I was just in a bad mood, but it was okay to just be in a bad mood. I wasn't projecting it on anybody. I was just having it. But I was also trusting that I was in it, but we're still working, we're still moving through it. And I'm not putting it out on anybody. I'm not making somebody feel like they have to fix it because there's nothing to fix. I was just didn't sleep well. Right. So you're allowed to be in a bad mood. We are all human. Right. The other thing is making mistakes or saying something wrong. You can still be a kind person and really mess that up. You can like put your foot in your mouth hardcore. But if you catch yourself where somebody says to you, whoa, that's not right, then you'll be like, you're right. I made a mistake. I said something wrong, and apologize. That's it. Move on. It doesn't mean anything beyond that. It's just you made a mistake. You're still a nice person. It has nothing to do with who you are fundamentally, unless you're an asshole and you're like doing it on purpose. That's a whole different conversation. We're not having that one today. The other thing is you can be a kind person and still stick up for yourself. Again, we're coming back to boundaries. So if you're looking to really make that change in who you are, what you do, you have to look at what are you doing? What is it that you're allowing? We have this conversation with clients all the time. Oh, I have to do this. Oh, I should be doing this. No, you don't have to be doing anything. There's no have, there's no should. There's what you want to do and then how you're going to go about doing it. Right? So when we look at all of those aspects of I can still be a kind person and all of the list. What is there? 6, 7, 8. Yeah, I'm looking at my list. Okay, sure, what I'm doing. I'm like, I have a list. So I'm just counting them out. Right? There's 8. So, right? It's okay. So I have a list in front of me. I want to make sure you guys are getting all the information. I'm not perfect. I'm not going to memorize them all. There's a lot of stuff, right? So it's just being aware that it's what you're putting your time to. Are you putting yourself, right? You're a kind person and you're still sticking up for yourself. You're still setting your boundaries. So if you're finding yourself that you have not been setting your boundaries and you've set them, but you don't have a consequence to them, that's not really setting them. That's just looking for more attention to start a fight. Right? That's a whole different meaning. If you're not setting boundaries, you might want to ask yourself why. What's holding you back? Right? Are you a people pleaser? Are you procrastinating? What's going on? But that comes from lack of control as a childhood, and that comes from trauma. I've talked about traumas all the time. I talk about big T traumas, small T traumas. Majority of the people have a small T trauma. This can be as simple as you stood up in class in grade 8 and had to do like answer a question, and the teacher like called you out in front of all of the class, and they all snickered and laughed, and that left an impression on you. That's a trauma. That's how you then view yourself, and then that's how you look at what you're doing. And if you're looking at all of these little things of what has happened, like your mother may have commented, like your sibling may have embarrassed you in front of a lot of people, that's stuck with you. Those are small T traumas. right? You didn't get you fell down in the park and you hurt yourself and you wanted your mom to like, hug you and cradle you, but she was busy chatting to like the other mom on the park bench. So you didn't get the attention that you needed. That's a small T trauma. These add up. It's like, I say this all the time. It's about death of 1,000 paper cuts, right? So they add up. Now, you can go through, depending on who you are and how your body responds. I'm a stress responder. So a situation will happen and I will respond without thinking. But when all the, like, everything's done and solved and like, okay, everybody's safe and like whatever, I then break down. That's when I go. That's when I lose all of it. Right. So you have to understand who you are and what you are, like, how you respond as a person. Some people don't respond well in the stressful moment, but then they're after the fact, they're like, okay, now I can get organized. Because we're all human. We're all different. It's not right or wrong. It just is. Right. So when you're looking at setting your boundaries, your self-care, your mental fitness, your resilience, are you then following through with all of these things that I talked about in the video? Guys, that's me. That's the question I'm leaving for you. You guys know what to do. Hit the love button, hit the like button. If you have questions, comment below. And yeah, that's me for this Friday. Guys, have a great week.